What's up, guys, and welcome to Story Time with Muscle Inc., where I share with you some of my monumental fuck ups and things I've done wrong over the years. And believe me, there's been many, in an effort to help you to stop make the same mistakes that I've done. And today's story, I'm going to share with you the time that I nearly killed myself using DNP. Now, at this point, there's not many things that I have or haven't tried in some way or another. But I can say that there's only one, that I most definitely would never, ever try again. And that's DNP. And to tell you the story, we need to go back quite a few years now, when I was young and dumb. And we'd just competed in probably about a third show. And we'd had another show, we didn't place. And we had another show coming up in 2 weeks' time. And this was back in the day when I competed in weight classes. There wasn't height classes like I do now, so it was done in weight classes, and I'd just done the 80 to 90 intermediates. And about 4 days later, we hadn't rebounded at all. We'd actually dropped down weight, and I was weighing like 82 kilograms, which for me even then was tough to get to. And my mindset being, right, well, do you know what, if we could get under 80 kg and do the 70 to 80s, then I'd be the biggest guy on that class, so it'd give me a better opportunity to win. So I thought I'd really need to dig deep and drop that 3 kilograms to get under 80. Problem was, I'd do so much cardio. I was killing myself on the diet. I was getting burnt out. I was tired this time. It was a long prep, and I needed something to help, or I thought I did, to get me there. And I was taking Clen and T3s and stuff like that, so I needed something else. And I was aware of DNP. It was, some people were talking about it. It was a good fat burner. It was getting a bad rep. It was in the news because someone had died taking it by taking it wrong, and so it was a controversial drug at the time. I knew some guys that had really rating it and bigging it up, and a friend of mine was taking it, and so I dropped him a message and asked him for some, and he'd warned me off it. Said it was horrible. He only managed to last a week on it. It was just, he hated how he felt on it, and he was only running half a tab. But I said, look, if you're not using them, can I have them? I think sometimes, no matter what, especially when you're competing, the will to win is always greater than any sort of risk. And I think when you're convinced in your head that this thing can help give you that little edge over your competitors, and you're so driven and determined to win, that you can someone can talk to you to the cows come home, ain't going to change your mind. So I got him to drop it around. Again, he warned me, start on half a tab, it's very strong, see how you get on. I'm someone who, someone tells me to take one, that means take four. I always kind of double dose, even with, painkillers, ibuprofen or whatever. But I did err on the side of caution, just because I think there's probably only two things I've ever been a little nervous before taking. Like, one was insulin. I was a bit nervous about that first time I tried it, and the other was DNP. Obviously, it was risky taking it with, it could go wrong. So took one tab, see how I was doing on it, and about 4 hours went by. Felt fine, didn't feel like I was doing anything, and I was just about to go to bed, and we'd only had about 7 days to the comp, so we were short on time, so I needed this stuff to kick in quick and take effect. So I had another one before I went to bed. Took two. I remember taking them, like, they smelt funny, the yellow tabs, bright yellow, and they'd actually stain your fingers when you were taking them and holding them and taking them, and they'd leave like yellow stains on your finger, which is always a good sign. And so I went to bed, And I just remember waking up in the middle of the night and I was on fire. Literally, body was cooking. It felt like my insides were cooking, and sweating like crazy. And it wasn't a normal sweat. It was yellow sweat, and it was staining the sheets. I was drenched in this yellow, so it was poison. There was basically poison coming out of my body. Lips were so dry, bone dry. So I grabbed some water, started drinking loads of water. And the more water I was drinking, the hotter I was getting. It wasn't cool now, I was getting hotter. So I went to the bathroom, started throwing cold water on me. Went back to the room, opened up the windows, and just trying to do everything to cool down. I remember it was winter time, so it's freezing. Even then, I was still getting hotter and hotter. Just didn't get too much sleep that night, and I remember I had to be up early for the gym, and I had to be at 5 to go open up. And I remember literally it's normally a 10-minute walk, and it took me nearly an hour to get to the gym to open up. And I just sat in the office, felt like death warmed up, literally. Still felt like my insides were just on fire, and I had to call someone to come and take over the shift so I could go home. And I remember getting back and I just went straight to bed. I didn't eat, didn't drink. I crashed out literally for about 2 days straight. I was just in bed, did not move, did not get up. And I remember my housemate at the time was coming to check on me every couple of hours, make sure I was still breathing, still alive. And eventually, about a day and a half later, sort of come to, woke up, was feeling a little better. I remember just being starving. I remember the girl I was seeing at the time come over to check on me, and I said, can you get me a McDonald's? So she went off and got me a McDonald's, and God, it was the best McDonald's in my life. Devoured it. Just remember being so hungry, and looked at myself, see how I was, and I couldn't believe it. I'd washed right out. I was holding so much water on the DNP. I looked like I hadn't even prepped or trained for 6 months. I looked like a pile of shit. Looked terrible. So, further on, learning more about DNP, it's you retain a lot of water on it. So it's something you certainly wouldn't take it, a week or two out from a show. If you're mad enough to take it at all, it'd be, a lot earlier in the prep. So the show was a complete write-off. Didn't end up not competing. It completely, DNP completely ruined my physique. And even if I took one tab, or like my mate had taken half a tab, he couldn't even train. You can't train on it. You're so hot. You literally just constantly feel like your body's a furnace. You're cooking from the inside out. There's no way you can do cardio or function daily on a daily basis, doing work, training, lifting weights, feeling like that. You feel like literally death. It's horrible stuff. It's pure poison. So I wouldn't recommend it to anyone who was trying to weight train, especially when you're dieting, your energy's low, carbs are low, body fat's low, and taking that on top, you got a hope of hell of getting any sort of productive training in the gym. You can barely get yourself out of bed on that shit. So it was, the worst thing I ever took, especially coming into a show. So I was speaking to someone about it, a friend of mine who actually worked in a lab, and on his spare time, on his lunch breaks and stuff, he used to, as a little side business, he'd test gear and stuff like that to make sure it was genuine, and he'd, cost charge people stuff. So it was a mate of mine, told him, but he said send it over to him, he wanted to see what was in it. So he got back to me after a couple of days, and he was like, Neil, tell me you didn't take this stuff. I was like, yeah, took 3 tabs. And he was like, mate, he said, this, I found there was rat poison in it, there was weed killer, there was even photocopier cartridge ink in it. Like, everything is not for human consumption. It was literally complete poison. And, normally he'd send stuff back to me and stuff after testing things, and he'd put it straight in the bin. He's like, get rid of this. And without doubt, it was the worst thing that I've ever tried and put into my body. And looking back, it was because I was lazy. If I needed to get that extra little bit of weight off, I should have upped the cardio. No matter how tired and fatigued I was, I should have upped the cardio and increased my food. I was young and I was lazy and I was dumb, and and you have to be stupid to take, you know, this crap that is literally poison. But that was me back then. I was dumb as fuck. You know, now, you know, you you know that, you know, I'd work a lot harder and do more cardio, you know, really pull back on the diet and suck it up. So, you know, it was definitely a big learning experience to me, and it completely ruined that show. And it could have been a lot worse. So anyone who's thinking about trying DNP, you know, it's still about, and some guys still talk about, you know, big it up. It's an absolute piece of shit. That, you know, no one should even think about taking it. You know, you have something that literally cooks your insides, it cooks your organs. That tells you enough to stay the fuck away from it, or to, you know, increase the amount you're sweating and stuff like that. It's absolute poison, and for anyone to stay the fuck away from it, don't be that dumb fuck that I was, and try and experiment with that, thinking that that's going to strip off a bit of body fat quicker. So that is my experience with DNP. So I hope that start warning for anyone who's even debating about trying it. Stay the fuck away from it. You're going to feel like absolute dog shit. You're not going to be able to train properly. You're going to hold a shitload of water on it. More importantly, the damage you're doing to your insides. That stuff has no right being anywhere near your body. So yeah, hope that helps, guys. As always, stay safe. Until next time, peace.